Oscar nominations are right around the corner. I'm frazzled, don't know what to do with myself. Someone, please help. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me on whatever day this is going out on my channel. I planned the day or two before the Oscar nominations release, but this is my final Oscar predictions video, taking into consideration ceremonies like SAG and the BAFTAs since the last time we did this. And this is it. This is my final shot to get every single thing right. Am I going to do it? No. Are you guys going to do it? Well, I need your all's predictions, your craziest prediction, what I am going to get wrong. That could be a lot. All of that down below. Hey, I appreciate you for being here. If you enjoy this series of videos and you'd like to see me do a full-on reaction video to the nominations, be sure to drop your thumbs up down below, and numerous other Oscar videos this week. But let's get into it, and I want to throw in Best Documentary. This is the final predictions, and I was so behind on documentaries. I still am, and you're going to see one film, and this is kind of the topic of conversation with documentary, and I've seen a couple of other people that agree with me on this, but for the most part, I feel like I'm by myself. The big film I'm leaving out here, and one that I feel like a lot of people have in their #1 spot, is Summer of Soul. Austin, why in the world would you leave out Summer of Soul? Well, it feels like every single year, the documentary category makes a decision or does something that completely mystifies every single person who made a prediction towards that category. And this year, I'm going crazy. I'm saying Summer of Soul is the one movie that a lot of people think at least has a great shot of getting in because of some of the comparisons that are being made to other films that will do really well over here, and then for some strange, godforsaken reason, get snubbed at the Oscars. You look at a film like Apollo 11, you look at a film like Won't You Be My Neighbor, those are all movies that were doing really well up until the Oscar ceremony, and Summer of Soul is the one movie I can look at and say, okay, it's of that level. Now, is this 100% going to happen? No, I might be starting, but I need some hot takes today, and a lot of other categories are safe. This is my hot take today. So what are the movies I'm putting in? Flea, The Rescue, and Ascension. I actually feel really good about those films. The First Wave, not as much. Procession is the only movie I can look at and say a film like President could get in, and Summer of Soul could absolutely get in and win, and it is my favorite, so I think it should. But, you know, they constantly piss me off, so why not piss myself off? We're going to play it safe with the song category. This is another one that I'm adding this time around, and I'm actually feeling so confident in this top 5. You look at something like No Time to Die, which I think has the best shot of winning. That's why it is #1. That's how we order these. Followed by Be Alive by King Richard. And Encanto, man. Encanto is making a splash every which way. But this is the song that has the nominations to back it up, to be in here, Down to Joy in Belfast. The one that I'm least confident in, honestly, even with the surge of Don't Look Up, is Just Look Up. I think you have something like So May We Start from Annette, or Guns Go Bang and The Harder They Fall could make their way in there, but I feel really safe with this top 5. With these smaller categories, this is kind of my time to make some baffling decisions and say, you know what, let's go out on a ledge and do something weird here. And I'm doing that with my 5th spot. The first 4 I'm really confident in, and surprisingly, A Quiet Place 2, I'm confident in. With that last-second BAFTA nomination, I'm like, all right, that's the one thing I needed to put A Quiet Place 2 in there. Does it make all the sense in the world that it was in there to start with? No, but it finally got recognized, and I don't know how you overlook a movie like that. I mean, they inevitably will, but I don't know how you do. So I'm really confident in the top 4. Now, the other one in here, you see Spider-Man No Way Home, and most of the time, you don't look at a Marvel movie with the sound category and say, well, that's assured an Oscar nomination. I feel like Spider-Man No Way Home, for some reason, being the film that brought everyone back to cinemas, takes it over a movie like Belfast. I think Belfast has a great chance of getting that 5th spot. But again, I wanted to make some waves with some of these early choices. You look at No Way Home, it has the Motion Picture Sound Editors nomination, and actually a couple of more that would normally, if it wasn't a Marvel film, spell we're going to get in this category and you're going to like it. You know, No Way Home has to get a couple of nominations because of what it did. It just has to. And I believe it will. What categories? this feels like one of the easiest ones to put it in, and I can't take off any of those top 4. Oh yeah, and don't be freaked out if Last Night in Soho makes its way in there somehow as well. You could take off something like West Side Story, but even within the BAFTAs, which completely destroyed West Side Story, it got a sound nomination, so that kind of cemented it for me. You know, normally with international feature, I feel so just not confident, but this year is the year where I feel maybe the most I've ever felt in terms of confidence. I think this is the top 5. Drive My Car, The Worst Person in the World, Flee, The Hand of God, A Hero. Again, this is the order in which I think, but even something like A Hero, I just don't see a movie other than maybe Compartment Number 6 getting in over any of these films. Should I continue on? I think we've said all there is to say. I love the top 3 movies in this category. You know, this actually is a really tough category, and you're going to be looking at the obvious omission, and that is Shang-Chi. And a film like Ghostbusters Afterlife, you know, why is that movie in over Shang-Chi or even Free Guy? And, you know, my heart wants Godzilla vs. Kong because how do you not? But it's not really getting as much love as a lot of these others. Number 4, No Time to Die. I think that, along with Matrix and Dune, those are the 3 safe ones, even though I do have Spider-Man 1 notch higher. I should probably switch that. You know what? Look at me, editing in the middle of the video. Here's visual effects. That looks good. Listen, I'm putting Ghostbusters Afterlife on there, along with the BAFTA, and a couple of other things that have just nudged me in this direction. It's been getting more love as of late. There's been more talk around kind of the final sequence of that movie, which is pulling on some heartstrings, which I believe could have people pushing it in that direction. I think the big question is, Austin, why Spider-Man over Shang-Chi? Well, if you're going to ask me personally, again, this is a predictions video. This is not what I want. If you're going to ask me personally, I think Shang-Chi has better visual effects. I like Spider-Man more, but I think Shang-Chi has better visual effects. But again, Spider-Man is the movie that's made waves. The biggest waves of any movie in like 3 years. So because of that, and the fact that it's been getting some love as of late, no BAFTA, obviously, but I've heard that BAFTA just doesn't like Marvel movies, and Spencer, apparently, for reasons. But yeah, I'm going to throw Spider-Man on there over Shang-Chi. It may be a stupid decision, because if you just go by your eyeballs, obviously Shang-Chi has better visuals. You know, not a better film, but that's what I'm doing. That's my 5 reasons. Best score, I think there's a bit more of a discussion here. We know who's going to win. That's going to be Hans Zimmer from Dune. But we also have Johnny Greenwood, Power of the Dog, The French Dispatch. Desplat, of course, is going to get that nomination. The bottom 2, I'm a little up and down on. Bertel from Don't Look Up has made a resurgence just a surgence. There's no resurgence. It's a surgence as of late. And I think Don't Look Up is pretty safe mostly because there has been a lot of talk surrounding this movie, and the popularity on Netflix has just been pushing it in every single category. It's the 5th spot for me. I think Spencer is dead in the water. Johnny Greenwood, even though he was spectacular, and I love that score, that movie across the board is almost dead in the water everywhere. You also have something like Nightmare Alley or The Tragedy of Macbeth. But I'm going to go Encanto. Encanto has been getting a lot of nominations as of late, and you saw the most recent one. Of course, there have been a couple of critics that have not, but, you know, different voting body. Regardless, with the popularity of one song and the nomination for another song and just the passion that exudes from this score, it's going to be hard for the Oscars to overlook that. And I don't know if Parallel Mothers has that oomph that could get it into something like Best Score, even though there's been numerous nominations for this composer before. So, yeah, that's my 5. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Production design, the top 4, they're set in stone. I have a great feeling about Dune for the victory, but Nightmare Alley, man, slowly, you know, it's one of those movies that's doing it at the last second and could get a lot more nominations than expected tomorrow. But the top 4, great. It's Cyrano. Cyrano's the one for me that I actually have over, and this is going to shock a lot of people, and maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this because this is already my 2nd category that Belfast is falling out of. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably not a good idea, especially if it wins Best Picture. Well, shoot. Now I'm rethinking a little bit, but you know what? I'm going to stick with my guns here. Cyrano has been making a bit of a name for itself in this category as of late. You know, there should be a West Side Story in here. There absolutely should. But this is another category that I'm snubbing West Side Story in, because I had West Side Story like number 2 or 3 last time we did this, and I think a lot of people that I'm seeing are nominating West Side Story in this category. I just think it's going to get shut out in a lot of categories. It's not been getting the nominations or the love in numerous categories, in numerous award shows, and because this is the film that I feel like is just going to get the shun in a lot of these technical categories this year, which is a bummer, because I think it has some of the best production design of the year. No West Side Story, no Belfast. This could be a stupid category for me. Animated. Encanto, Flea, Mitchells, Luca, Ryan the Last Dragon. That's it. I don't see. Maybe Belle, Sing 2, possibly. No. This is the 5. That's the 5. Hair and makeup, the only one giving me a bit of hesitation. Actually, there are 2. Cyrano, which got the BAFTA, but, you know, the BAFTAs, they love something like Cyrano. And then the Suicide Squad, which I had in there before, but I replaced it with Coming to America, and actually feel so confident in that. I pushed down House of Gucci just a little bit. Yeah, it's just one of those movies, and every year it seems like we get that film in the hair and makeup category. Just look at what they did with Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes and that entire cast and crew playing multiple characters and putting on suits and things like that. It screams hair and makeup. It screams that, so I had to put it in here. The top 3 are set in stone. I'm starting to feel a little more confident in Cruella, but not enough to put it at the top of the list so far, so those are my 5. House of Gucci, yeah, it's going to get on there as well. Costume took off House of Gucci, surprisingly, which didn't get the BAFTA. I was surprised. I would still say there's a good shot of it getting on, along with French Dispatch, along with Spencer. But I'm going to throw on Nightmare Alley, which, again, has been making this crazy, push as of late in all of these award ceremonies. That's making me feel confident about it in numerous categories. The other 4, this is one that I don't think they're going to snub West Side Story for. I don't think they are. I understand it didn't get costume at the BAFTAs, but West Side Story is so... It has performed fairly well in this category, and it's so exuberant with its costumes. I just don't know how it misses this one. But where there's a will, there's a way. It's always possible. Adapted screenplay. My difference between last time and this time is a lack of a West Side Story, which is starting to feel like the Mank of this year. It really is. Looking at its build-up, where it has been in these other ceremonies compared to where it is right now. Performed okay with critics, but even then, a completely different voting body hasn't been getting the love, so I'm removing it from adapted screenplay and putting in Drive My Car. Even though I feel less confident about a movie like Dune, Dune is going to rack up. I think it may end up with the most nominations out of any film, but this is one where I'm not as confident. You could have a film like Passing. You could have a film like Tick, Tick, Boom. I don't know, but that's why I'm pretty happy with my top 5 here. The top 3 are set in stone: Power of the Dog, The Lost Daughter, and CODA, with The Power of the Dog almost assuredly winning this category. But, man, Drive My Car is coming in hot right now. Being the Ricardos at the 5 spot in original screenplay, it pains me. It hurts so bad to take Mass out of my top 5. But again, we did it a month ago. Mass has just gotten no love in the last month, causing me to put in the film that has been getting love in Being the Ricardos. And I don't like to do that because I wasn't the biggest fan of the film. But this is predictions. This is not what I want. And let me tell you, Being the Ricardos has a good shot of getting on this list. The other ones I'm feeling more confident about. Don't Look Up, with just the popularity right now and a couple of nominations here and there. But the top 3, easy. Licorice Pizza, Belfast, King Richard. You do see a difference, though. I had Belfast at the top before. I go on Licorice Pizza, and I understand, and I keep bringing up the BAFTAs. That's the most recent thing that happened, but a lot of love for a movie like Licorice Pizza in general across the landscape. So, yeah, if it's going to win anything at this year's Oscars, I'm going to go original screenplay, just slightly over Be Fast. Oh, boy. Let's put an L in here. Austin, what's Be Fast? Well, if you can't be slow, if you don't want to be slow, so you got to be fast. I felt terrible lately. I'm getting over the flu, so it's like, I don't care about anything. All right, editing. Let's get into editing and talk about the movies that I have recently put in this category. There was no Licorice Pizza to be found, but to give it a Best Picture shot, and with the BAFTA love and all of this stuff, I had to take out a movie like Tick, Tick, Boom, which hurts me. It hurts me very bad that I took it out, but I took it out nonetheless. And here's another one where I think West Side Story gets snubbed. And then I was thinking to myself, why did I not have Power of the Dog in there? I don't know. I didn't have it. So I put in Power of the Dog because to get a Best Picture win, I feel like it almost has to get the editing nomination. Only a couple of times that hasn't happened. So number 1 and 2, though, still Dune, still Belfast. You know, Dune is that movie that just showcases a lot of editing and really good editing. So with all of those things, I think it has the best shot to win. My 5 spot, though, is King Richard. I know a lot of people want to say Don't Look Up, and I understand that movie has a lot of editing, but that movie reminds me of other movies that have been in this position before but haven't gotten in almost at the last second kind of thing, and King Richard feels like the safe choice, and the Oscars often go with the safe choice, so King Richard is my pick in the 5 spot. I'm feeling pretty good about those 5. Cinematography, the top 3 are set in stone. Dune is probably going to win this category. It was very tough to take off something like The Green Knight because my heart wanted it to be on there, but I did. I also took off, again, West Side Story. I don't see West Side Story doing well enough to be on there when you have something like Nightmare Alley, Critics' Choice, ASC, BAFTA, continuing to surge in a way that says, hey, Austin, what do you do? I wasn't even thinking of Nightmare Alley before, but it's continued to get nominations, and you almost have to put it on there. Why is Belfast above it? Well, Belfast feels like the film that has firmly been in it up until the BAFTAs, but, you know, the BAFTAs, for some reason, didn't respond to Belfast in the way that I thought they would. But being a Best Picture leader like it has been, I don't know if that's enough to pull it out of some of these categories with the Oscars. So you have to find a good balance when you're looking at all of those things combined, which is why I'm putting it on my list. I'm feeling fairly confident. The only one I do feel a little bit hesitant about is West Side Story, but it's not getting the love, man, which sucks. Because I think the movie's cinematography is incredible. All right, supporting actress. This one's a little bit chaotic when you get to the end, but the first few are easy. DeBose, Spalf. Anjanou Ellis has been slipping a little bit as of late, but I felt like it was such a strong beginning. I'm still going to keep her in there. Probably should switch her, though, and Kirsten Dunst, now that I'm thinking about it. But those 4 are safe. Ruth Negga is the only one, and I know Ann Dowd got the BAFTA, and I felt so good about Ann Dowd getting the BAFTA. But I just, my heart wants her at the 5 spot. Nothing against Ruth Negga. She was great. But another one to throw on there, though, is Jessie Buckley from The Lost Daughter, which she's been getting a lot of love as of late. And Cate Blanchett, Nightmare Alley. You cannot forget about those 3. But Ruth Negga, she's been so strong as of late. So strong from passing. So I feel pretty good about those 5. But do not be shocked if it's not Ruth Negga. The only one that gave me trouble here is the 5th spot. Ben Affleck from The Tender Bar. I wanted to put him at the 5th spot because that feels like the kind of shock. Not really shocking for me. I was almost putting him on the list saying, yeah, I think he's number 5. But for a lot of people, and you just look at Bradley Cooper's performance, and the 5th spot's been up in the air this entire time. You've had nominations for J.K. Simmons and Ben Affleck and Jamie Dornan and Bradley Cooper, and I took off Jamie Dornan just thinking to myself, Bradley Cooper, SAG, not a lot of more recent award nominations, but a lot of critic nominations. Could that point in the right direction? I don't know. But he just feels like that caliber of actor with that caliber of performance, even though not a lot of screen time. And Ben Affleck just hasn't been getting the love as of late. Jamie Dornan, I feel like they are going to choose between the Belfast boys, and Hines is the choice for me. Jared Leto has been getting all of the love required to get a nomination. Of course, Troy Kotzer and Cody Cody Smith-McPhee. He's probably going to win. But I may change my tune. I'm becoming more on the Troy Kotzer train. We'll see. If this is your first time watching, you're probably like, this guy's This guy's crazy. I'm normally not as scrambled as this, but again, I've been sick for like a week, so whatever. Best actress. Let's go. Let's go. This is crazy, y'all. Look at this. And look who we're missing. Okay, Jennifer Hudson. She's not on here. Rachel Zegler. She's not on here. Who else are we missing? Kristen Stewart is not on here, and this pains me. Also, was I responsible? I know I wasn't. But just speaking to the people that have been part of this channel, was I responsible for this Nicole Kidman thing? I wanted to go one outside-the-box choice here, and this is my outside-the-box choice. Nicole Kidman is my prediction for being the Ricardos. Austin, why? Well, it actually got more than a few nominations. You know, Bardem and obviously Screenplay, and being the Ricardos, kind of a darling this year with the Golden Globes. And Nicole Kidman, she has won herself numerous Golden Globes. They like her. They really, really like her. I'm sure there were people that did it, but I was the only one. And people said I was crazy. If I missed on everything else this year and got that right, I feel pretty good about it, even though I didn't feel good about it, if you know what I mean. She's good. She's fine in the movie. I wasn't a big fan of being the Ricardos, but there is no denying Nicole Kidman is getting that Oscar nomination, and she's in the 2 spot. Lady Gaga, though. Lady Gaga's in the 1 spot. She is everywhere. She has secured almost every nomination necessary to be assured an Oscar nomination, and right now I think she's the front runner. Call me crazy. I think Lady Gaga is the front runner over anyone. Number 3, Olivia Colman. She's been getting the love. Chastain and Colman, they did not get the BAFTA, but the BAFTA was so odd with who it did not nominate, which is another case I could make for Kristen Stewart, but Kristen Stewart hasn't gotten really any of the love. Alana Haim got an excellent showing at the BAFTAs, and Alana Haim has secured numerous nominations elsewhere across the board where Kristen Stewart hasn't. In the first major snub, you guys remember it, I was shocked. I'm saying, Kristen Stewart, well, it's okay, guys. She'll perform elsewhere. But she really hasn't. And it sucks. And it hurts. It hurts me to not put her on here. I'm planning on doing a video to where I do my nominations, who I would nominate for the Oscars, and you absolutely bet your booty that I'm putting her on there. But I have to go Alana Haim in terms of a prediction over there. The one I guess I feel least confident about, that I feel more confident about, does that make sense? Probably not, is Jessica Chastain. The top 3 are set in stone almost. The bottom 2, not as much. But it could be Zegler, it could be Hudson, it could be Stewart. I hope it's Stewart. We'll just have to see. This one's a little more like, okay, right? The top 4, pretty easy. Will Smith, Cumberbatch, Garfield. I did have Garfield at number 1, but Garfield really hasn't performed extremely well. I mean, he got the Golden Globe, that was 4. And then just, it's honestly been a lot of Benedict Cumberbatch, but Will Smith feels like the more Oscar-friendly, plus he has some more nominations than Andrew Garfield, so I still believe Will Smith is that choice at the Oscars. Denzel, yes. The 5th spot, though. Is it Peter Dinklage? Is it Javier Bardem? I fell off the Nick Cage train. It hurts me, but I fell off the Nick Cage train. Bardem has gotten some love. Peter Dinklage didn't get SAG. Leo didn't get SAG. Dinklage has gotten elsewhere. The fact that he's Leonardo DiCaprio, the fact that his name is Leonardo DiCaprio, and he has the status, and that clip that's been going around from Don't Look Up. Listen, I wasn't the biggest fan of Don't Look Up because I didn't think it was all that funny. I understand it wasn't supposed to be funny. It tried too hard to be funny. I liked the message way more than anything. But Leo did crush it at points in that film. So I'm not going to be completely shocked if he gets in over Peter Dinklage. And my reasoning for not putting Peter Dinklage on here, a lot of people have Dinklage. I just feel like that movie's release date, in the same vein of Mass, has completely messed it up. Why not just release it wide and do a better job? And I understand they did a good job with critics, but those aren't the voters here. Why not do a better job with its release date prior to the Oscar ceremony? And I think that may have messed them up. Now, I may be wrong, But Dinklage feels like every year there's that one actor that gets some noms elsewhere and doesn't get in, and you get the bigger name, and Leo is that bigger name. And I feel like he's doing it this year. I really do. You're going to see two noticeable absences on here. Maggie Gyllenhaal, not as much, but Hamaguchi from Drive My Car is in a lot of people's number 5 spot, okay? Drive My Car is that film that, deservedly so, is getting love, maybe enough love, to get a Best Picture nomination, okay? And that's kind of where, and he's been getting a lot of nominations across the board. Spielberg has as well. My reasoning for putting Spielberg on here is that his name is Steven Spielberg, okay? And I'm choosing West Side Story to get snubbed in a lot of places that other people aren't choosing. So for me to do it everywhere and then do Best Director, the one place where I feel a little bit of confidence saying West Side Story, if anything, okay, caused it to be as good as it was Spielberg's direction. Now, are the voters going to think like that? I don't know, but I'm feeling pretty strongly that they may because of the name, Steven Spielberg. Now, is that the only reason he should get it? No, I thought the movie was great, so I think he deserves it. But the name, in my opinion, is going to carry him to that 5th spot. Will I be shocked if Drive My Car makes a showing in Best Director? No, I will not. But at the end of the day, Steven Spielberg is just... he's just that guy. So he's there at number 5, and the other 4 are kind of set in stone at this point. Jane Campion, who is my number 1, surprisingly. Denis Villeneuve, Kenneth Branagh, who has moved down just a little bit, but Paul Thomas Anderson at the 4 spot. This is going to be a tough category, though, because if not Spielberg, then who? And finally, Best Picture. Again, I put these in the order in which I feel most strongly about, so clearly we are starting with The Power of the Dog, moving our way from Belfast to Dune, which I've brought back up a little bit because of the plethora of nominations. Licorice Pizza making a strong showing at the BAFTAs caused me to move that up just a tiny bit. King Richard, the feel-good movie. Don't Look Up, the popularity is pushing it up my list. CODA, I think, is getting it. West Side Story, it's hanging on by a thread. It really, really is. But I still think it gets in. Tick, Tick, Boom, I am not feeling super confident in. It's fallen down and down and down. But the film is respected enough, as is Lin-Manuel Miranda, and the top 10 may not be the strongest last couple of choices I've ever seen, so why not put Tick, Tick, Boom on there? It's the 10th spot. That's the one, and everyone's losing their minds. Something like The Worst Person in the World could make its way on here. The Lost Daughter, No Way Home, Tragedy of Macbeth, Nightmare Alley. Do not sleep on No Way Home. Do not sleep on Nightmare Alley. Do not. Because at the beginning of all of this, I had Nightmare Alley just firmly in the top 10. I'm like, there's no way. And then the movie comes out, and I really liked it, but I know a lot of other people didn't. So that kind of took it off the list. But as of late, it's been getting a few more nominations that I'm saying to myself, okay, maybe it gets on there. Spider-Man No Way Home brings back the box office, right? You know, everybody and their grandma, and then their grandma's grandma, that they resurrect. Oh, God. Everyone's seen the movie. It feels like a lot of people love the movie, even on Letterboxd with the average score. IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. It's just across the board. So is that respected enough to get a Best Picture nomination? I don't think so. I don't think so. And it just doesn't feel like the type of movie to get a Best Picture nomination, so that's really like the popular vote. But the real one to talk about here is Drive My Car, which has been getting some nominations across the board. And my reasoning for not going with Drive My Car is simple, and it is being the Ricardos, for some reason, is getting that bump almost everywhere. And I understand this is basically me just copying PGA, like, it's just to a T, but Being the Ricardos is a Hollywood story. It's a Hollywood story made by Hollywood for Hollywood, and it is a respected movie. Aaron Sorkin is a respected writer and, at this point, director. I don't like the film. I'm on record saying that. Do I feel bad about it? No, but I understand why other people like the movie, and I hate to say that because I love Aaron Sorkin. So I'm going to be pretty upset if this gets the 10th spot. But everything is leading me to put it in that 10th spot right now. The constant love across the board, higher and higher goes all of the actors and even down to screenplay. If there's one thing I had issues with while watching it was the screenplay, but that's what seems to be coming on even stronger now than it was. So all of these things lead me to put Being the Ricardos in that 10th spot, and I'm actually feeling more confident in that now than I was just yesterday, because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yes. But it's going to be hard to not put Drive My Car in after the numerous, wins and Best Movie of the Years type thing that it continues to get. I just don't know if it breaks through. If it does break through, I'm going to be happy. And I think it is definitely a movie that should be breaking through and should inevitably end up in that Best Pictures list. I just don't think it does. But that 10th spot is as up in the air as any spot on this list in any category. So we're going to be shocked, excited. I'm so excited for tomorrow, guys. I haven't been this excited for an Oscar nominations announcement in a long time because of the up-in-the-air nature of some of these categories. A lot of them are going to play it safe, and understandably so, because we get that every year. But there could be absolute chaos in some of these categories, like a Best Actress, like a Best Editing, like a Best Picture. You could see Best Director go in a crazy direction, although some of those I just think they're going to stay the way we think. But my question for you all is, first of all, did you enjoy this video? If you didn't, I understand. But if you did, and you'd like to support this channel, that thumbs up means the world to this video, to my channel, to the analytics in general. So be sure to drop it anytime you guys appreciate the content. And of course, leave your lists and comments down below if you would like to see it. I think I'm going to put this video out on Monday, so that means tomorrow. If you want to see a reaction, let me know that down below. It's going to be chaos. All right, guys. See you soon.